Welcome to the October 11th, 2018 meeting of the Code Enforcement Board. Meeting will now come to order. Madam Secretary, may we have a roll call?
Ms. Cudley.
Here.
Ms. Hines. Here. Ms. Howe.
Here.
Mr. Harrington.
Here.
Mr. Jones.
Here.
Ms. Roby.
Ms. Roby's not here today. She was called out of town for an emergency. So,
Ms. McLean.
Here.
all right, so do we have a motion to excuse Ms. Roby?
So moved. Second.
All right, motion Mr. Harrington, second Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. So I want to welcome our newest member, Valerie McLean, to our code board, and we appreciate the fact that you're willing to serve and have given your time and made the commitment. Thank you very much. All right, approval of the minutes. Have we had a chance to read them? Any additions or corrections? Okay. Motion to approve minutes.
So moved.
Motion Mr. Harrington, second Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Does anyone need to disclose any ex parte communication?
I
Val,
haven't.
just one second. Val, do you understand what that means? If you heard anything outside of the meeting about a case, just disclose it.
Sure.
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't been to a good party in ages.
Okay, Madam Secretary, do we have any announcements?
Yes, we do. I will read only the cases that are in compliance since the final agenda was sent out.
Okay.
Case number 10, CEB 0918-98, 940 North Halifax Avenue is in compliance 10-10-18. Case number 20, CEB 0918-117 east of 430 Goodall Avenue is in compliance 10-10-2018. Case number 21, CEB 1018-134, 1148 Ginsburg Drive is in compliance 10-10-2018. And case number 30, CEB 1018-140 at 3011 Stanford Avenue is in compliance 10-10-18. Case number 31, CEB 1018-121 at 1412 Edgewater Road is in compliance 10-10-18. Case number 32, CEB 1018-122 at 313 Aletha Drive is in compliance 10-5-2018.
Okay, that's quite a few in addition to the others, so the agenda that was looking so long might not take as long today. We have no lien reviews today, so let me get to our procedure. Would the code officers come forward and be sworn in?
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we will be calling cases by number, and for the most part, in order as they are listed on the agenda. If there are any attorneys present that need to be in court, we'll hear those cases first, or police officers that need to get back to their assignments. We'll also forward those cases. When your case is called, please come forward and be sworn in. State your name and address for the record. If you are not the owner of the property, please state your relationship to the owner of the property. Our proceedings are recorded, so please speak into the mic. The board will hear from code officers first, and then you'll be given the opportunity to respond and direct all of your responses to the board. Witnesses may also testify following the same procedure. If we go longer than 11 o'clock today, we'll take a 5-minute break, and anyone that's sitting in the audience waiting for their case to be heard can come up and give Ms. Barnes your name, and we'll try and get to those cases first, so you can leave and hopefully that'll work out, but I'm hoping we'll get through by 11. All right, so no lien reviews. We'll start with our old cases first. Case number 1 is in compliance. Case number 2, 3, and 4 in compliance. We'll go to case number 5. On page 2, case number 5, CEB 09-18-102, Janine Brown. Anyone show? Okay. Ms. Brown here? No. All right.
One moment.
Okay.
How do you like the new hotel? How do you like JetBlue?
Morning, Tony.
Good morning. Madam Chair, members of the board, Anthony Jackson, attorney for the City of Daytona Beach. We're here in case number 5, and the inspector is Mark Jones. This is 616 Magnolia Avenue. And Mr. Jones is, as we said before, and I was expressing to the staff that I would like them to go over the history of these cases just for the sake of our new member. And so this is one that's before you for imposition of a fine. So I will ask for Mr. Jones to come up and kind of remind us just a little bit of the history. And there had been a prior finding of noncompliance. What we're asking for, well, Mr. Jones will express he's had no contact with the owner. And so we're asking for a $250 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000. I don't know if there's any more facts than that since he didn't have any contact with the owner, but I will tend to Mr. Jones to go over the case.
Okay.
Mark Jones, Code Enforcement, City of
Morning.
Daytona. Good morning. This case was opened back in June. We generated a violation, a notice of violation, which was returned. So the property was posted on August 2nd. The compliance deadline was August 16th. Have had no contact from anyone in regards to this property. And as we stated, we're looking for a fine of $250 a day with a cap of $15,000.
All right. Any questions? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $250 per day against the respondent effective today, October 11th, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case 6 is in compliance. Case 7, CEB 08-18-90, Robbie L. and Robert Dillman. Respondent present. Was here last time, but not here this time. Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Mike Fitzgerald. Mr. Fitzgerald will tell you that now that they have made substantial progress. They're 95% done, and he will be asking that it be amended to the next cutoff. I will ask Mr. Fitzgerald to give the history of this case
Okay.
as well.
Good morning, Mike Fitzgerald, City of Daytona Beach Code Enforcement. My credentials are on file with the city.
Good morning.
Good morning. The case started in 2/15/2018. Notice of violation was issued to 2/20, and the gentleman was, he's been here before. He
Right.
went into the hospital for a heart condition, and so it took a little bit more time than usual. But he's also been doing a better job. He's sanding the house down. He's pressure washing. He's going above and beyond, so it's taking a little bit longer. They were even working yesterday out in the rain. You'll see those photos.
Okay.
This was yesterday. So everything else is done except for this one side. He's out there pressure washing and sanding, so it should be compliance by next
Next
cutoff.
cutoff, okay.
Well, explain what that means.
Is that a rental, are there rental units there?
Those are two rental units.
Two
yes, sir.
rental units.
There's no one renting it. It was his brother was living there. Well, there's 2 units.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. McLean, if what we mean by the next cutoff is we're giving them extra time, there's a cutoff date before the meeting, where if they're in compliance, then it will just show up as compliant. We don't hear anything more about it.
Did you give her the list of the dates?
Yes.
So she
Yes,
got
I
that-
got that.
Send
That
Okay.
piece of paper that she got.
Okay.
Cut over.
All right.
Yes.
We got it.
Yes, I
Okay.
have.
Where are we here? Okay, all right. The chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until the next cutoff date, which is 10/31/18, or be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Howe, second, Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. All right, that was 7. Case 8 is in compliance. Case 9, CEB 09-18-92, Bernard Martin at 135. Okay, he's here. He was here last time, too.
Come on up, sir. Are you here for this case? Come on up.
Yeah, I'm Mark.
Come on up here. She'll swear you in.
State your name and address.
Yes, I'm Bernard Martin at 135 University.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll hear from code enforcement, and then we'll give you a chance.
Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for a couple of issues that had a dual order. The first part of the order was that the respondent was to ordered to apply for permits before October 3rd, and then the second portion of the order was that we would make a determination of a compliance date. The inspector is Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that the respondent did not apply for permits, and up to this point, Mr. Alderman knows of no action that the respondent has taken. The inspector is asking for, on that portion of the order, for a finding of noncompliance and a $200 per day fine to a maximum of $10,000. Should the respondent go out and obtain these permits as soon as possible, we're asking for the ultimate compliance date to be by next cutoff. I will tender to Mr. Alderman to remind you of the history of the case. Unless you have some other questions for me.
There was a question, and I think Mr. Alderman could probably talk about this last time, about whether or not the city was pursuing demolition.
For the record, my name is Steve Alderman.
Good morning.
City of Daytona Beach Neighborhood Services Inspector for the city, for the police department, and my credentials are on file. And yes, I did go down and talk to Bo, and Bo simply suggested that he needs to get a contractor with a permit in place. There would be no reason for them to intervene until that is started.
Until they get a contractor.
But I did talk to him.
Okay.
Yes.
Can you tell us the history of May?
Yeah, go ahead. You can
Okay,
tell us
yeah,
a little
for the
bit about
edification of the new member. This was opened up on 3/6/18. A wall had fallen on the south side of the building, and I was referred by permits and licensing staff to go over there and do something to intervene. Its address is 135 University, and the structural wall fell, rotted overhangs, fascia, support wall. A certified letter was sent on 3/6/18. It was posted, stop work order, on 9/12/18 because work was done without a contractor and very poor construction techniques. I've had plenty of verbal communication with Mr. Miller. He's been trying to do things but hasn't come up with a permit yet. And at this point, I guess,
Yes, Martin,
Oh, yes.
Mr. Martin.
there you are. Yes. So that's all for me for the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Mr. Martin, what would you like to tell us?
Well, I have done some things that I know I could do. As far as getting someone, as you just said, a contractor, I didn't realize subcontractor. You know, everybody advertises themselves as a contractor, but when you actually get down to it, they're not. They're subcontractor type people. I've been in touch with people I know, and they're going to recommend a real contractor that owns a corporation in Holly Hill that has a general contractor. I don't know his name. I've been busy with personal things as far as an ex parte on some of my family. And just the other day, actually. So I'd like another 30 days to be able to, without a fine, to give Mr. Alderman a call, because I keep in touch with him as much as I can. And, correct?
Okay.
And it's not that I'm trying to avoid anything. I'm just haven't been able to put it to go all together. But there's a big wall around the house. The wall he's talking about is up the side of the house that his porch comes out, and that's the wall. It's not the wall on the street.
Okay.
But I've taken all that, had it all painted, hired a painter and everything, and cleaned up the yard as much. But I'm in and out of town, even though I own it and I live with my brother. I'm left it from my brother a lot of the times, and he's the one that's in ex parte. So I'm doing the best I can do. That's about it.
So you own the house, and you don't live there?
I live there, but as far as when I'm in town, but I'm
Uh-huh.
out of town a lot, or
Does
I come in at night.
Does someone else live there?
Me and my brother.
Your brother.
That's
Okay.
it, yeah.
Okay.
And I didn't realize.
And he's there all the time?
Well, I guess. Because years ago we had a drinking problem and did 6
Okay.
years
Okay,
dry.
we don't- okay.
But, I didn't realize what had transpired until all this came down as far as taking responsibilities.
Okay. Well, it's a very serious, as I said last time, it's a very serious issue and a serious code violation, especially if the city is going to look into pursuing demolition. So you need to take this very
Well, I was
serious.
the one that brought that up.
Well, whatever, very seriously.
I know.
And
Now, there is, see, that's the thing.
and no excuses.
No, but what had happened was, being local, my brother knew Eric Berkshire, or whatever that management company is, and his father or brother, I'm not sure, I only met him a couple times, said that, well, we can work under a contractor.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got it, it's stable, believe me, but it's not up to this code in this town. And tried to find him.
Yeah. Okay.
So it's not that I haven't done anything.
Okay.
I have a question.
Go ahead,
for
Mr.
us,
Harrington.
If you could clarify. The permits, have we determined that he has to have a general contractor to do this work? And if that's the case, who pulls the permit? He or the contractor?
He's responsible.
Because the the problem, it seems to me, he hasn't hired a contractor, so obviously he's not going to get any permits.
Right, but he is responsible for hiring the contractor and the permits will be in his
Well,
name, isn't that right? Yeah.
So, somebody has told me that I can file and hire subcontractors since I own the property. I don't know.
Yeah.
I keep hearing all these things.
Yeah, well, if you talk to your code officer, I'm
I
sure
think-
he'll tell you what you need to do.
Yeah, you should have that clarified, whether you can pull them or the contractor.
Because my paperwork says licensed contractor,
Correct,
not general.
right. Okay. Mr. Jesmer, Officer Jesmer, what,
I was just
anything?
going to say that he had went to, excuse me, sir.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Officer Jesper, the Denver Police Department. And I'm not the inspector by any means, but I would think that if he would have went down to permits and licensing to apply for the permit like he was asked to do or told to do, they would have told him what he needed.
Yeah,
That's why we're asking for what the inspector's asking.
okay, all right, thank you. Any more comments? All right,
The gentleman that did do the work did give me a little thing. It wasn't done by an architect, but it was very well done. And I filed that with the permits. 3 weeks later, I heard from a gentleman at Ron saying it doesn't showing up at the stairs. So
Okay.
it's,
all right, okay, I think we've heard enough at this point. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day up to $10,000 effective today, October 11th, to apply for permits. Wait, is that, am I? Just to impose a fine of $200 a day up to $10,000 until permits or until compliance, which is the permits are applied for, or it reaches the maximum of $10,000. Right? I know that's confusing. but that's the
Can
first
you read
part.
that to us?
That's is there a date, or we're just?
well, I would.
No, I wait. No, excuse me. I need to.
Compliance until it was final.
Right.
Well,
All right.
Oh, sure.
Madam Chair, this situation, this is the order for the permits is the board's order.
Right.
And it's a two-stage order. The ultimate compliance will be when the permits are final. That's
Right.
by our clear
Right.
understanding. The partial order is for him to apply for permits. So he just has to apply for the permits to satisfy the partial order.
Okay.
And that's one of the things that this has been since March notification.
Yes. Well, yeah, we know.
And
Okay.
so that's the first part. Then the other issue would be determining when you want him in ultimate compliance. And part of the problem, of course, is without him having permits and knowing the scope of the work, it's hard to really have a true time period. We believe it's reasonable, based on the inspector's report, we believe it's reasonable for him to be able to comply if he gets going and doing what he needs to do to comply by next cutoff. So one, we're asking to address the issue of noncompliance as to failing to apply for a
Okay,
permit.
so
And
that was
then-
that's the motion that we'll do right now. Chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today, October 11th, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $10,000. Is there such a motion?
So
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Now, the second part of the motion is to amend the previous order of noncompliance?
Apparently, Madam Chair, apparently we don't have a compliance date. I didn't look back to,
We do not.
okay, so it's
Only for
actually
the
to
permits.
Okay.
get a compliance date for the ultimate compliance of this case.
So the second part then will be at the next meeting to set a compliance date. Would that be right?
You can do that, Madam Chair. What you'd be doing is basically continuing that portion of the order, which is fine if that's what you choose. Of course, it's fine if that's what you choose to do. The options, as the way I see it, would be to either set a compliance date based on the report you've received today, continue the determination of a compliance date to the next month,
Okay, I
or
think that's
whenever.
I'd say it'll change based upon if he gets the building permit.
Very
the
likely.
application, so.
I
Okay.
agree with that, Mr. Sino.
So you're doing what, Mr. Johnson, now?
Well, the two options. I think what Mr. Sino's suggesting, and I agree, is that the likelihood would be that if indeed he runs out and obtains a permit, so maybe you want to, if you, maybe you definitely, probably continue the determination of compliance date would probably be,
That's cut off.
which actually it's going to give him even a little bit more time, but at the same time, I think anyone smart at this point would not want this fine to continue to run and get on the move to get the permit.
All right, so the next motion. Chair will entertain a motion to continue the determination of a compliance date until the next meeting, which is November 8th, 2018. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed.
Okay, can I ask a
Motion
question?
carries. No, if you have questions now, we've heard the case. If you have questions now, you need to get with Mr. Alderman, and he will explain to you what needs to be done and how you can do it.
I just wanted
Thank you.
clarification of Mr. Harrington. If I need general
Yeah,
contract.
you can talk to him.
Yeah, we can't give you advice on what you need to do. Okay. All right, let's see, I guess we're, case number 10 is in compliance, case number 11, CEB 09-18-114, P.D. Miller. P.D. Miller, I'm sorry if I mispronounce it. C.D. Miller.
State your name and address.
Yes, I'm P.D. Miller. I live at 220 Lyndhurst Drive, Orange Beach.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll give you a chance to respond after we hear from our code.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of a fine. The inspector is Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that the property remains in non-compliance. He still does not have his rental license. The issue he has remaining is that he needs screens. This case has been going since January of 2018. The inspector is recommending that a fine be imposed of $100 per day to a maximum of $15,000. I attend to Mr. Alderman so he can give any additional history that you would need.
Good morning again. Go
Good
ahead.
morning. I don't have to redo everything for my name.
No,
Okay.
No, let's do it.
I opened this in, it was January of this year. He was going through a eviction, so there was some time period there where he couldn't gain access. Immediately after that, the house was re-rented. But
So he evicted one tenant and then another one came in.
Correct.
And this is all without the rental inspection? Okay.
Correct. Now, I did do and I'm also kind of multitasking on this when I'm trying to complete a rental inspection as well, because all of the issues involved in my notice of violation affect the rental. Mr. Miller has been in arrears for the city from 2015 for fees to the city. He did pay them up. But talking to Karen Baum after the last inspection that I didn't do, she said that he now owes in October, at the end of October, he owes another additional year. So that's where we're at for the money, but at least the money has been addressed and brought somewhat up to date.
Okay.
He does have, the screens are the main issue. When I went out there, I think it was Monday at 2 o'clock, the screens were not done, and I thought sure they would be. There's a couple of other small issues that are electrical. One of them's on the hot water heater. That's the main one, and you'll probably see that. That's a picture of that one. I did not go in on my last inspection simply because the screens were not done. Now, Mr. Miller did ask me back on the rental inspection that I did the first one on 9/12, who would have recommend to get screens. I recommended Ace Hardware, Home Depot, Lowe's, the usual. Now he told me when on the last time I saw him that he couldn't get screens from Ace for 2 or 3 weeks, probably. Well, I just called Ace this morning because I deal with them a lot, but not on screens. I just called Ace at 8:05 this morning. I talked to a lady named Ray. She told me that they could have the screens done within 3 to 5 days, your color of aluminum, bronze, or white, up to you. It's that quick. All they need is maintenance.
Okay.
So it should have been done. And the other one, I didn't go in to verify whether it's done or not.
Okay, so we have on here smoke detectors, roof and flashing.
There was one smoke detector that needed to be moved to a different location.
Okay.
But I believe Mr. Millett has replaced that. I just didn't go in and finish
Okay.
my inspection last night.
All right. You talked about the water heater wiring, the illegal wiring under the kitchen cabinet.
I believe that's been removed, but I have not verified.
Okay, so nothing's been verified. Kitchen drain leaks, not verified, and he does not have his rental license.
Correct.
Because he hasn't had the inspection. Okay, thank you. Ms.
Yes.
Miller.
Yes, I'd like to reply.
Okay.
When I first heard about how much money that I owed to the city for all of this, I immediately went and paid. It was $474.50. I asked them, please tell me everything I owe and I'll pay it. And
Right.
I did. And I only heard just last week from Steve when we were at the house the last time, oh, but you owe more. So I contacted Karen Baum, found out that I owe for 2019, which I intend to pay
Right.
forthwith. So that's the situation with money.
Okay.
The kitchen drain did have a small leak. I replaced the pipe that was leaking, and it no longer leaks. So
Okay.
that is in compliance when we have an inspection. The electrical wire under the cabinet in the kitchen, I removed that wire completely. So that is in compliance, and when it's inspected, we'll see that that's the wire on the hot water heater. I took a look at that with Steve Alderman, and since then I went to Lowe's. I bought the parts that I needed. I went in, I repaired it, connected it together perfectly. It is actually repaired and in compliance. Also needs inspection. You'll see that. The smoke detector, bought another smoke detector, put it up between the two bedrooms where he told me to put it, and tested it. It works. So that's in compliance. The screens. The problem with the screens were a former tenant a couple years back felt the screens were ugly. They were sort of old and raggedy. So at his own discretion, he took all the screens out, including the frames, and threw them away. So there I had a house that needed 12 screens, and I had no frames. And so I did go to Ace Hardware in Ormond Beach and asked if I could have frames. And they told me, well, first, you need to have sample template frames made to be sure they're the right size. So please go measure your windows, come back to us. There were 4 different sizes. I measured, I had to make the frames, paid a deposit for it, brought it to the house, and only one of them was exactly the right size. The other ones were like 1/8 of an inch off, 1/4 of an inch off. So I remeasured it, and I went back to Ace Hardware, and I gave them a sheet to go along with the order that looks like this. The exact frame size, which is the top, the dimensions, how many I needed of each, and said, please make these frames. They said, fine, Mike is our frame guy, he works part-time. It should be done by Sunday or Monday. That was last week, or this week. So I called on Monday, and Mike said that yes, they're in the process of making it, and it should actually be done by today, this afternoon. So the only thing that's outstanding are the frames, which I have proof of. I have the order from him, a copy of the order that I gave, and I have even the date of the order on it. Actually, I made the order on September 26th, That's their order form, and they're still working on it. So when I go and pick up the frames, I will bring them to the house, put them in, and everything will be done, and I'll call Mr. Alderman to please come and inspect everything. So,
Okay, so do you have a tenant in there now?
yes, it is.
Okay. Any comments or questions?
I have one.
Board.
Mr. Miller, when you were here before, you were trying to evict the last tenant, and you were told that you had to have an inspection before you could have another tenant in your home. How many years have you had this house rented out?
Okay, well, first of all, the premise that I was evicting a tenant is actually incorrect, a misunderstanding perhaps. The tenant decided to move out, and because I stated to him, because I saw that he did a lot of damage in the house, I stated to him that I would inspect the house and find out what damages I needed to deduct from his security deposit, which made him angry, and he went through the house and damaged certain things.
Well,
and called the inspector to look at it.
that being said, prior to renting it to him, did you have a rental license?
The problem with the rental license is I tried to get a rental license years ago, and I was told you cannot get a rental license until you're inspected. So I
right.
set up inspections, and for one reason or the other, the inspection never took place. One time I showed up, nobody showed up. The next time, he called and said he couldn't come.
Okay.
The next time, there was an inspection set up, and he called me in the morning and said that he had a problem with his
Can you answer my question? How many years have you had this rented out?
I've had it rented out for quite a few years.
Okay. And in all of those years, you've not had a rental license.
I did
Is that
not
right?
realize that I needed a rental license
Okay.
until all of this started.
Any other questions or comments?
When did you first realize that you needed a rental license? Could you approximate date?
Well, I was told actually that I needed a rental license to have a tenant in when Steve Alderman told me a few months ago. Until then, it was quite clear that I was renting it, and then we were working on inspecting it.
So,
Okay, the date that you were notified about this is in January 2018. So we're
Right.
now in October.
how many different tenants have you had since Steve told you you needed a rental license?
The one that left, plus this one.
Do you have other rentals?
No, I do not.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions? Comments? All right, the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $100 per day against the respondent effective today, October 11th, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches a maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Heim, second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, let's move on to our next case. That would be number 12, CEB 0518-53, James Lambert.
Oh, here's this thing again. Here's this thing again for the.
James O. Lambert, 71921 Wild Avenue.
It's not a realtor. It's not a realtor.
I solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to utter is the whole truth and nothing but the truth.
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll let Mr. Fleeg and Mr. Jackson tell us what's going on here for a minute.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you fill the position of a fine. The inspector is Tom Cleage. Mr. Cleage reports that the property remains in noncompliance. On the issue of getting the permit final, the intent or the effort was made to get it final, and the inspection failed. So it remains still unfinal, and Mr. Cleage is recommending amending to the next cutoff for him to make whatever necessary corrections to get this permit final. I will turn to Mr. Cleage.
Good morning, Officer Blake, Code Enforcement. This case started as a complaint driven of this gentleman putting up stairs and a deck without a permit. And it started in December 21st, 2017. The contractor told me and the building inspector told me that he just failed Wednesday because the stairs, I believe, weren't anchored down properly. So he needs to get a re-inspection on that. That's what I think we're waiting on.
Mr.
Yeah.
Quick,
Yes, ma'am.
the contractor told you that the stairs were not anchored.
No, our
The
building
inspector.
inspector did.
Oh,
Our building
the inspector,
yeah.
okay.
That what happened with the contractor, again, he did this work after the gentleman did this level permit.
Oh.
And everything was going fine, and it looked like it was going to get final, and any correction to the situation.
Okay. Mr. Lambert.
Well, the first inspection failed, and there were 3 items, one of which was this clamp in terms of how it's attached to the cement. But he explained to me, and he's also got it done with our architect, that the clamps that are metal there are up to code. So it's just a question of, I guess, paperwork. Then the other factors also have been cleared up, and he has called back and as of Monday to get a re-inspection, but they had so many other things going on and stuff like that. Nothing's ever happened. And I looked this morning again, the cylinder's still there, and it's supposed to clear up everything, but we had no re-inspection.
You've applied for a re-inspection.
Yes, and it's, the cylinder's there and everything. It's been there since Monday.
Okay. I mean, this just seems like it's taking forever.
It has taken forever.
And and the issues, I mean, it just really dragging for some reason.
Well, one of the big issues was we had to have it another complete.
Yeah, I know. I get it. I know. I remember that. And it seems like you're doing what you can do, and then something else comes up that the city hasn't signed off on. So, but now if we do what they recommend is to amend to the next cutoff, Mr. Khalid, do you think that everything will be finished by the next cutoff? I mean, can the city get?
I think so. I talked to
Okay.
the contractor. He said he was going to get the work done up to our code. So.
Whose
But
code
again,
did he get it up to?
Whose code? So.
Yeah, you said get it up
No,
to our
well,
code.
he thought it was up to code already, or originally done, but it's not. So our building inspector wanted some revisions.
Yeah, that's
made,
okay.
and that's what he did.
That's okay.
As far as I know, like I said, I looked at it, I thought it would pass. I was just kind of shocked.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so I think that what we'll do, the chair will entertain a motion to amend the previous order of noncompliance and allow respondent until the next cutoff, which is 10/31/18, to come into compliance and be returned to a subsequent meeting for consideration of fine of up to $1,000 per day until compliance is achieved. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. We are in case 13, CEB 09-18-109, Dennis and Lucinda Trovinger. We're here for a progress report. That's, yeah. So come forward, be sworn in. Good morning.
Dennis Trovinger, 1212 Sunset Circle, Daytona Beach.
Raise your right hand. You solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Okay, we'll let you talk in a minute, and let's just hear what the progress has been.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for a progress report and a determination of compliance rate. As you recall, this is complaint driven. It's related to a carport situation. They applied for a permit to, I think they were getting another driveway. Is that what it was? Yeah. And unfortunately for them, that was denied. It was because of a 30-foot side setback. The understanding of the inspector, as reported by Mr. Klieg, is that they are perhaps going to seek a variance, but I'd have to hear that. But that's what Mr. Klieg believes. So that would be the next option, or to
I think we knew that last time, that they needed to get a variance. Is that correct?
Yeah.
And they
so
need to go to the Board of Adjustment to do that? Okay, Mr. Klieg, why don't you come up and help us out here?
Okay. This case, like I said, it was a complaint driven, started June 5th, 2018. There was not only the expansion of the driveway, I mean the carport, but the driveway,
Right.
both were, and as far as I understood from last time I talked to them, they were going to apply, try to get a variance to,
Okay.
let the 30-foot setback slide, but I haven't heard anything since then.
Okay, well, let's hear from Mr. Trottinger.
Yes, ma'am. My contractor, Greg Arcadi, was supposed to be here. I don't know where he's at. He's been playing phone tag with Hannah Ward, trying to set up.
Who's that?
She's the name we were given down in building permits we had to go through to get the variance.
Okay.
Anyway. Hannah Ward.
Hannah.
I'm sorry.
I thought you said Anna. Okay, Hannah. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's all right.
I thought
That's okay.
Okay. Greg tells me he's been playing phone tag with her, trying to get a meeting. Okay. But she had told me when this was all started that to get a variance, we would need a new survey and a stormwater management plan. Okay. I've been contacting surveyors, and I didn't know it was that hard to get a surveyor.
Well, I guess they're busy.
Yes.
Yeah.
The ones that said they could do it, everybody's 4 to 6 weeks. I do have a deposit I put on with Myers Land Surveying.
Okay.
He said 4 to 6 weeks, but he promised me he would try to squeeze me in earlier if he could. He would call me.
And so once you get a survey done, then you have to go set up, well, you're going to have to meet with building, right?
Mm-hmm.
And when you meet with building, you need a survey? Is that what they told
That's
you?
what Hannah
And what
told us.
else?
A stormwater management plan. Mr. Myers said he could do that too. Mr. Myers said he could do that too.
Okay. And then you take it to the building department. I'm trying to figure out when we need another report, or when we can get this done, a compliance date. And then you're going to need to go to the Board of Adjustments, is that right?
That's what my
And ask for
understanding
the
is.
variance.
Yes, ma'am.
that's what I believe. I mean, we have certain staff, but I think this is one that will require. I'm going to the Board of Adjustment.
What's the lead time on the Board of Adjustment?
I don't know anymore. I believe it's something like the last Thursday, next to the last Thursday, but it's just once a month. It's
once a month,
it's
and I'm not sure they
third
meet every
Thursday,
month,
I believe. It's,
No.
Do they?
Yeah, I believe they still meet every month. The
They're
third Thursday.
scheduled
if they have,
every month.
If they have something scheduled.
They canceled last month, so
If
there's
they
a
don't have any-
possibility that,
Well-
it could take a few months.
Well, Madam Chair, I believe they meet if they have cases. So if they cancel because they didn't have anything to review. So I think they're scheduled like we are monthly, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't think that's changed. So if he applies by the filing the application deadline, which I believe is something like that last week of the month, then that I think it's the third Thursday. And this is, as you may recall, no, I did Board of Adjustment, but it was many years ago. So, but it's that latter part of the month.
Isn't there a letter sent out to joining property owners?
Yes, and that has
So that's
to.
going to take at least a month.
Yes. So this.
If he was applied during the month of October, he wouldn't go in front of the board till December.
Well, and he needs to have the survey done, which is going to take 4 weeks as
We're
well.
going to have to get the
So that's 2
days.
months.
I thought that he's able to get there before. Yeah, it is a certain number of days, but he's able to get there.
Apply for his,
I think it's like 15 days prior to or 10 days prior to. So he can.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's a lot of things that has to happen, and we understand that as well. So the staff is in support of whatever time you feel you need to do. It's typical for the board as well as the staff to allow people who want to seek alternative remedies if that are truly available,
Right.
to go ahead and go forward. So we're willing to wait and allow that to happen as long as he's pursuing that in good faith, and it appears based on the documents that they appear to be doing that.
So but this is an encroachment on the setbacks. It's not, is he on the people's property next door physically, or is this just an encroachment on the setbacks?
Well, the inspector just mentioned to me that it's an encroachment. Probably, if that was built without permits, you're also going to have the storm sewer concerns and everything else because of the
But there isn't going to be a
impervious-
contest over who owns the land. Okay.
No.
Well, the
But
board
that's
can't
not.
can't give him a variance on somebody else's property anyway.
No.
So
That
the
just,
survey will come out, survey shows that he's gone into people's property. He's going to do something anyway.
Right, and that's the clarification of the need for the survey and to know exactly how far or where, or how many, what they're doing in terms of even if they allow them in a setback.
All right, so I wonder if we make the compliance date by December 5th, 2018, that's the cutoff? Is that enough time?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I think at the very least, what we need is a progress report, and maybe that we may not. We may want to wait even 60 days for that, not next month.
Okay.
I would say progress report in January.
Okay. All right, any other comments? And
I
what
just-
is the January date?
1/2/19.
That's the cutoff, yeah.
And meeting date is the 10th.
Does that give you all enough time, do you think, to do it?
That sounds like.
Yeah, hopefully we have the whole thing done by then, and
Right.
coming back.
Yeah.
Try.
Okay, so, well, we're
They're not
asking
gonna shoot us
for
if we don't,
a progress report. Maybe we need the progress report in December.
Okay.
No, where's that?
I don't think so. I think we should
Okay.
do the best we possibly can to help
Right.
these people.
I agree.
It's refreshing to hear people that want to work with us
Right.
and help
I
us
agree.
rather than
I'm
excuses
not-
all day long. I think we should help them as much as we possibly
Right.
can.
Yep, I agree. Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to continue the progress report until January, the cutoff date of January 2nd, 2019.
Okay, question.
Yeah.
This thing is for no permit. When does that come in? After the variance hearing, if they win, when does the
If they grant
permit?
the variance, they can go for a permit.
Then they won't have to pull a permit.
Still has to pull a permit.
Well, I
Oh, they
suppose-
still
they
have-
still would need, yeah.
Okay, there's even more to it than.
Yeah. Because this isn't a matter of, we're ruling on the variance. We
Variance,
don't-
no, variance is just going to get into the next step.
Right.
He says to go for a permit.
Right. The variance would define what the law would be for that circumstance. So it may adjust what's permitted, but they'll still have to get the proper permits to do whatever's permitted. If they allow it to stay, they need at least to have it reviewed under those new standards to get approval.
Okay.
Okay, so what we're doing is just asking for a progress report on at
The
the next
meeting date.
at the January
meeting.
10th, 2019 meeting. That's what the motion is. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Another complicated case. All right, let's go to case number 14, CEB 0918-113. Rental Properties LLC.
Really?
Anyone here for this case? Okay. Were they here last time for this case? I'm sorry, I don't remember. I think it'd be in the minutes if they were. I just don't remember offhand. Were they here last time? I don't think they were either. Okay. Squatters, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so that's not this one. That's a holdover ticket.
Okay.
Yeah, this at least the representation of the past was that these were former workers who were allowed to stay and then they refuse to leave. So it's more of a tenant type of issue. But in any sense, where we are today is that the inspector reports that nothing's changed. It's non-compliance. The inspector is Tom Klieg. He's asking for a $200 a day fine to a maximum of $15,000. I tender Mr. Klieg to remind you of the history of the case.
Okay.
This case was started July 17th, 2018 from our Water Utilities Department, and what it was theft of water services. And they shut the water off, and they since have been living in the house without water. The gentleman I talked to, the owner, lives out in Seattle, Washington. He said it's too expensive for them to be evicted or do the repairs. So I told him what my recommendation to the board was, and he's had no comment. So.
It doesn't even look like the same house. We're saying is that the back?
Yeah, that's the side of it.
The side, and that's the front.
That's the front, right? And there's a bunch of transients in there.
Still.
Yeah, and there's police issues also.
Officer Jesmer, will you come tell us what you know about this so we're up to speed here?
Honestly, not any more than what Mr. Klieg's been telling you. I haven't, except for the last meeting was the first time I knew about it, and I hadn't had a chance to look into it.
What would the procedure be to evict squatters?
Well, we have a legal.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, according to the inspector, the owner told him that these were former people doing work that was staying in the house. So in that situation, they established they'll have to be evicted.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, they're not really squatters.
That's fine.
They're homeowners.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $200 per day against the respondent effective today, October 11, 2018, and continue until compliance is achieved or reaches the maximum of $15,000. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. Now we'll move on to our new cases. And the first one is CEB 10-18-128 Sharon and Shoshana Ofer. Respondent present. Which one? This is. Yeah, this is at 1300 4th Street. Okay. Okay. Well, come up and state your name and address for the record and be sworn.
I'm Angel Arce. I'm Angel Arce. I live at 1300 4th Street.
Janice Kinsler, I'm the property manager.
Can't hear you.
Kinsler, Kinsler. Thank you.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Okay. We will hear from Mr. Klieg and Mr. Jackson first.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Tom Klieg. Mr. Klieg reports that the property is in non-compliance. He's asking for next cutoff for the property to come into compliance. He's had contact with the tenant. There was a re-roofing that had begun without permits. And I'll let Mr. Klieg speak to that further. I'll tender Mr. Klieg.
Good morning again. This was a complaint driven, and I apologize for the pictures here. Excuse me, the work was done, and there was just like a bundle of shingles left on the roof when I got there. It was complaint driven August 14th. When I was leaving, the tenant's wife, I believe, talked to me and said that the tenant actually did the re-roof himself without a permit. And since the meeting here, I just met the property manager, and she said and agreed that they're in non-compliance, so I think they're going to get a permit. So.
Does anyone want to, do either one of you want to speak?
Yes,
You're the tenant, Mr.
Yes,
Arces?
I'm the
Okay.
tenant. I have other people, like, I got in contact with the last tenant that was living there, and they was going through the same situation. There was a roofer that lived there too, and they went on the roof and did the roof, and basically they didn't get the permit also at that time, and it's been happening since 2017, and they left. They moved out of there to August 31st, 2017, and there's plenty of more violations in that house if I could get code enforcement into the house, like where it's leaking at the ceiling.
But that's not what we're
yeah, I
here.
understand. Yeah.
Okay, so you need to talk to code enforcement officer to see what your steps would be. But today we're here because there is no permit for the work done, and that's fine. Now, could I, Ms. Kensler, would you come up, please?
Yes.
Hi, what would you like to tell us? Are you going to apply for a permit?
Yes, ma'am. I'm going to do that downstairs. And I would like to comment on what he said about August of 2017. I have not been working for this company that long, so anything prior to May 20th of 2018, I don't know anything about. Yes, ma'am.
And the people that own this have hired you to be the property manager?
Yes, ma'am. I work
Where do
for. They live in Ormond Beach, but I work for First Place Realty and Property Management, so I'm underneath the brokerage.
Do these owners have a business license or a rental license?
I believe so.
Okay.
But we're just here today.
I know that. I just asked the question.
Okay. Okay. Well, we're just here for compliance and non-compliance, so the chair, about the permit, so the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, which is 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. So we'll see you. Hopefully you'll get your permit, and that will be it.
Yes, ma'am. I'm going downstairs to do it now.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
All right. Next case, 16 CEB 10-18-113. Somebody
Yes.
Yes. Good. Be sworn in.
James Brennan, general manager of the property.
Okay.
And my dog, Precious.
What's his name?
Precious.
Oh, her name,
Yeah,
Precious.
yeah.
And your name was?
Kaz. I'm the son.
Son of.
Naseem Mirza.
Okay, Mirza. Okay.
Mirza, yes.
Yeah.
Raise your right hand.
Yes, ma'am.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony that you're about to go out is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? And the dog's raised.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
That's right. Sorry.
Okay, let us hear what goes.
Yes, from code.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Tom Klieg. Mr. Klieg reports that this property remains in non-compliance. He's asking for the next cutoff for the property to come into compliance. And I tender Mr. Klieg for any factual information.
This was a case from our licensing and inspection department. It was denied a license, business tax license, or receipt on 7/11/18 due to some revisions, because I believe that he's going to make it a church, but they had like a Turkish bath and a couple other items that weren't up to.
Did you see the Turkish
That's
bath?
what they told me.
Do you have 101?
Right, 101. Well, anyways, that's what Dennis, our zoning and manager upstairs, who told me that they are working with our city right now to get the business taxes.
I'm confused. You said bath, though.
Not that they said that there were some issues about you, but they're going to put a Turkish bath thing, and that's why he said it was denied. So
I'm confused.
I'm confused.
certain sections of the property and the building were separated. Our inspector told me that they were going to do different type businesses in They weren't
the
allowed.
regular businesses
Right.
But
in the
we've talked to
property.
Dennis and Jim.
Right, and that's what I'm saying, they're working about it with it. but
Okay.
Originally,
Now
that's why
I-
it was
all right,
denied.
that's- Okay, I didn't understand.
I apologize, but
Okay, that's
that
right,
was
not
why
your
it was
fault.
denied July
It's not.
11th.
Yeah.
Right, but we're here for compliance, though. right?
We're here today for
Right.
compliance. Would you gentlemen like to
Yes.
say something?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
we-
go ahead.
We have our business tax receipt, ma'am. We've been working with Dennis Morozic at the city planning and Jim Morris, the deputy manager, for quite some time now. So we had to get the land survey done, which we got done, and the site plan, which we have done, and now we've paid for the
Do you
business
have the
tax
business
receipt.
Yes.
They have
We
their,
have it here.
We have our, yeah,
yeah, they have their business tax receipt.
yes, ma'am. It's a church.
It's the actual receipt
Yeah.
now.
That's not,
So what are you working with the deputy city manager and the city attorney? What is it? I mean, they don't normally work on a business.
Tax receipt, it's actually church now. It's
Be-
like-
Before we can get the business tax receipt, we had to get a site plan done and
So
a
what
land
is
survey.
this $55?
Now that we have the business tax receipt, the next step is the inspection.
Yeah.
Is this the business tax receipt is $55? I thought is that how much it costs to get a business?
They're
Because it doesn't, it just says administrative fees. I'm just going to read you what this says. Annual fire inspection, $55.10.
That's not a business tax.
It sounds like an inspection fee. It sounds like it's the application fee, but I don't know that. I don't have enough
This is
information.
for the annual fire inspection. Is my understanding. Have you seen this?
Yeah, the best understanding of the inspector is as of
Okay,
this
but
morning.
that's not the business tax receipt, correct?
That's correct, Madam Chair. And as far as the best knowledge of the inspectors as of this morning, they did not have it.
Okay.
And they hadn't
So
applied.
they still get it all taken care of with city staff, and we expect they'll be in compliance by next cutoff.
Okay, so you're working on it.
We've been doing every
Yeah.
step that they've asked.
Okay.
Yeah, I apologize. Under my impression, we've put in.
Okay.
but that's not it.
That's not your business tax, that was your fire inspection fee.
We get confused when we're at gym and everything. when
Go
they
ahead,
say-
speak into the mic.
We get a little confused on when they throw all the BTUs and letters at us, and we're
BTRs.
yeah. So we're trying to comply in every shape, form, whatever you ask. We're
Okay,
trying
all right, that's good. We appreciate that.
Yeah.
So we're just, just work with Mr. Clegan. He'll tell you exactly what you need to do, so there's no confusion, and we'll get this squared away.
Okay, thank you.
All right, so, Chair, any other questions from the
It
board?
bothers me. This confusion's been going on for 5 months for a lousy business license.
But I think part of the delay was that we've had several meetings here in this building with the technical review team, and to get an understanding of everything. So we had to do the land survey, we had to do the site plan in that time.
The question
and that's
is,
been done.
that you've been having isn't the license, it's the type of business that you're trying to go in there in order to get a license.
They approved us for church.
Church.
I see.
And that's what it says also on this.
And everything else was,
Okay,
they
well, you're
delayed.
working with the people you need to work with in the city to get this done the right way. so-
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yes, Chairman.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to find the respondent non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Mrs. Himes made the motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. Clean. All in favor say aye.
Just one clarification on the motion. It is for business tax receipt, so it would be the maximum of the $250 administrative
Okay.
fine.
All right, we'll just change it to consideration of a fine of up to $250, one-time fee.
That we have to pay.
If you don't get your BTR.
Oh, okay.
Right.
BTR.
Right.
Another.
Okay. All right. Now, we had a motion and a second. Now we need, that was amended a little bit, so do we need, well, is that acceptable to everyone?
Well, read it as
Okay.
a
Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance and respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a one-time fee of $250. Okay. Motion, Mrs. Himes. Second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay. All right.
See you, Precious.
Case number 17, CB 10-18-125, Cheryl Taft. Is Taft present?
No.
Okay. All right.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Daniel Garcia. Mr. Garcia reports that this property remains in non-compliance. He has been in communication with the owner, who said she was going to be out of town and not be here today. But we expect that she will be able to have this in compliance by next cutoff. I tender to Mr. Garcia for any additional factual questions.
Okay.
Morning, Daniel Garcia, Code Enforcement with the City of Daytona Beach. My credentials on file. This property was complaint generated, and I issued a notice of violation on June 1st, 2018 for the damage of the roof and the west side of the exterior wall. I spoke to the owner a couple of times. She kept asking for extensions, but I wound up setting it here because she has done nothing since the day one. I don't expect on doing anything.
Is she talking to you?
I just spoke to her a couple times.
Okay.
Yesterday I spoke to her and she said that she was not going to be here because she was going to be out of state.
Oh, okay.
But there is a whole, you can see from the front street, you can see clear up, straight up out the outside. And from the back, I even contacted John Cecil downstairs with that does the demoing. And at this time, he stated that it's not.
Is she a homeowner?
She owns that house.
Owns the house? Does
Yes.
she live there?
Yes, she does.
Okay. All right, thank you. Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance and a respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? Motion, Mrs. Himes, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Klein. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Now we are moving on to case number 18, 10-18-126, Brian Hopkins Revocable Trust. Good morning.
Good morning.
State your name and address.
Brian Hopkins, 900 South Ridgewood Avenue.
Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, I do.
I'm sorry, what is your name?
Brian Hopkins.
Oh, you're Brian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just leave.
All right, let us hear from Code and speak.
Oh, okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Daniel Garcia. Mr. Garcia reports that the property remains in non-compliance. He's asking for you to make that finding and to allow till next cutoff for the respondent to come into compliance. He reports he's had owner contact. The owners did the work without permits and it wasn't done correctly, but he is now doing what he needs to do to get this thing taken care of. So he expects he'll have him in compliance by next cutoff. And I tender Mr. Garcia.
Okay.
This property was also complaint generated. It was a complaint of the overhang around the building that was deteriorating, falling apart. I issued a notice of violation on August 23rd, 2018, and had the owner had contacted me, stated that he was in the process of going out of town and that he will pull the permit and make the repairs necessary. Since then, he had someone do this just temporarily, just so that it wouldn't continue deteriorating. And I spoke to him. He's here today. He said that he is applying for a permit and will do the necessary repairs.
Okay. Good. Mr. Hopkins.
I did speak with Mr. Garcia before I went out of town. I do apologize. I got the letter of Crooks Den.
This is a multi-family.
No, it's an office.
Oh, it's an office
Yeah.
building. Okay. Are there tenants?
Me.
Okay.
Yeah. I did get the letter from the Code Enforcement Board that I think it was at 4:30 the day before I was going out of town. I had called Mr. Garcia. It was the night, I think, of the Crooks Den fire. If I remember correctly, I explained to him that I was going out of town for several months. I asked if we could have some time for it. He said yes. I got back on Monday, this Monday, like 3 days ago, to the letter and the death of a family member. So we've been struggling to get things in order. I do have the permit in my hand, and it would have been submitted on Tuesday. However, they needed a drawing that I need to go home and draw up. So that should be submitted today.
Okay. All right. Any questions? The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent committed to compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Case number 19, CEB 1018-131, Haran Boys Corporation. Respondent present. Okay. Sorry, go ahead. Got looking pictures up there.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Danny Garcia. Mr. Garcia reports that the property remains in noncompliance. The respondent had improperly installed he had improper installation, and but he's done a lot of work. He's moving forward, getting everything he needs done, and so he expects that this will be in compliance by next cutoff. So we're asking for a finding of noncompliance, next cutoff to come into compliance. I attend to Mr. Garcia.
This property is a commercial property on Main Street, 815. It is actually the exterior wall it was damaged. There's a new tenant there. Had complaints about it. It's complaint generated. It is now completely done. The wall is completely repaired. The only thing is that he has to paint it. So that's what's in non-compliance. Okay. And also the gutter that's coming across, they're going to reroute that correctly. It's damaged, and also they're going to reroute it. And once that's done, he's already hired the people that repair the gutters, and it should be done. It should be done like probably in a couple weeks.
Okay. Any questions?
And I've had contact with him.
Good. Okay, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is that the motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington. Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, case 20 is in compliance. 21 is in compliance. Move on to case 22, CEB 10-18-138, Rodney Dunkley. Good morning.
Rodney Dunkley, 587 Brentwood Drive.
Raise your right hand. Speak into the microphone, please. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you are about to tell is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for imposition of for imposition of a fine, for determination for determination of compliance or non-compliance. The inspector is Barbara Collins. Ms. Collins reports that she's had no contact with this respondent. The property remains in non-compliance. She's asking that it be brought into compliance by next cutoff. And I attend to Ms. Collins.
Good morning. Barbara Collins, Neighborhood Services, City of Daytona. I sent the violation 7, he signed for it, certified mail, on 7/5. He's never contacted me. I had to post the CEB2 because it came back undeliverable. He needs to repair the exterior, the roof, the paint and walls, the wooden walls and that, and the roof members. It came from a citizen complaint. I heard an air conditioner when I posted. I knocked on the door. I heard an air conditioner running. I don't know if it's occupied or not.
All right, Mr. Dunkley.
I hired a contractor almost 2 years ago to fixed it, and I still
You live
can't.
there?
Yes.
Okay.
And to fix it, and so of course with the 2 hurricanes, the contractor said he was busy down in South Florida, and so I have to move forward, and I
You do.
contacted the Attorney General's office, and
No, well, I don't think the Attorney General is going to have anything to influence our decision one way or the other. So you're going to have to take that separately. We're not going to really get
yes,
into waiting
I
for
did
all
put a
that,
down
'cause this
payment
work
on
needs
it,
to be
a
done.
pretty substantial down payment on it too. So.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that happened, but what I think is that you need to get this work done.
Yeah, well, I'm looking at 2 guys right now. Plus, I've been ripped off, and it's hard to put another down payment on a.
Yeah.
I'm
I'm sorry for that, but we have no control over that, and it's been some time here. So.
Yeah, I'm getting 2 general contractors right now.
Okay.
And
So-
I'm asking for is more time.
Okay. Well.
I'm fed up with the 2. I'm embarrassed of the way it looks.
Okay.
Can you tell me why you haven't contacted the code enforcement?
I work days, and I was working nights for 3 years, and then I was asleep during the day. I'm losing in bed by 8 or 9 o'clock in the morning. But now I'm back on days. I just, I didn't even know I could talk to her. I thought I had to come here and do it.
Well, you get basically a summons in the mail or a complaint in the mail, and you just don't ignore these things.
No, I didn't. That's why I'm here. No, I didn't know. If I called her, I didn't know if I would be annoying her or,
All right, well,
I didn't know.
Okay, I'm going to make one suggestion that you find out exactly what you need to do and what the process is from Ms. Collins. She'll be happy to tell you and move forward. So I don't think there's anything much more we need to say right now. You're not in compliance with our code, so it's a pretty easy decision at this point.
Yes.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance or respondent committed to compliance by the next cutoff date, October 31st, 2018.
Can I have a little bit longer?
No. Well, I don't know. We'll have to see what the board decides. Come into compliance by the next cutoff date or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mrs. House. All in favor say aye. Aye. Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Question.
Yeah.
He had asked about time, and just so it's clear to him, and I mean, the position of staff is, of course, if he starts working in good faith towards doing anything, just getting a permit, that would be enough for us to make that recommendation.
I think we all realize there's a lot of work to do there, but we have to do something and not wait on the Attorney General. So.
No, I mean,
Okay. All right.
if I wouldn't put a new
I
roof
think
on.
he's saying that if there's progress, we can work with you.
Yeah, but if I would have put a new roof on and the
Okay.
signed contract I got, could he rip it off and put it on?
Once you get a permit, that
I don't know. I didn't know.
Well,
just get a permit.
all right. Please speak to Ms. Collins, and she'll explain to you what you need to do. All right. Case number 20 is in compliance. Case number 21 is in compliance. Case number 22.
That's the one.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm back. I'm going backwards instead of forwards.
Did we vote on that? Did we vote on the last thing?
Page 6. Case number 23, CEB 10-18-123, and Jennifer Field, respondent present. Come forward. Good morning. Be sworn in.
Good morning. My name is William R. Field, 211 Mullally Street. I'm the husband of Ann Jennifer Field.
Okay.
Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you will be about to provide is the truth, no truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Okay, we will hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Alderman.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector, Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that the property is in noncompliance, and he's recommending next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance. He has been in contact with the responding, and he believes he can have it in compliance by next cutoff. I turn to Mr. Alderman.
Okay.
Hello again.
Hi.
I opened this case up on 4/11 of 18. It was during the San Juan operation that the Code Enforcement Division did. This is one of the last cases, and one of the main things I wanted to mention to you that I opened it up at 4/11, and I had no more contact or involvement until about 7/24, which is my next time, and that was because of my own issue that I had kind of took me out of the workforce for a little while. But then I made contact with the owner, and he's been working on it a little bit, but I do believe he'll have it done by next cutoff.
Good. And could you explain to all of us what protective treatment means? It's just,
Paint job, exterior paint job.
Just, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I just want to make certain that our words are matching.
I think they use that as a generic because if you use a clear coat on like block or concrete, it's different than paint. So protective treatment is a generic.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. All right, Mr. Field.
Yes, ma'am. This is 100% my fault. In November, I broke my ankle, had to have surgery, so I haven't been able to get up on a ladder. I just got clearance to get on a ladder with the restrictions September 20th. We have already put primer on the right-hand side and primer on the left-hand side. My wife has done the paint job that's right around the door and the door, and we'll have that done very quickly.
Terrific.
If it's not moving, we're painting it.
Okay. All right. Any questions or comments? All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, October 31st, 2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion? So moved. Motion, Mrs. Hunt.
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Case number 24, CEB 1018-13. Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Steve Alderman. Mr. Alderman reports that this property remains in noncompliance, and he's recommending next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance. He's had very little contact, no contact since August from this respondent, but he's hoping that they'll be responsive to the notification.
So in that one picture, what we're seeing, Mr. Alderman, what we're seeing right there, is that they just closed in that section?
Correct. They actually.
The tenant tenant.
Well, the owner of the condo actually affected part of the common area of the roof support system by changing a support beam, which kind of created the issue where she's responsible now for that repair of the common area.
Yeah, all right. And so Holly Hoffman owns the condo unit.
Correct.
Okay.
And I did have contact with her. I opened this up on July 27, 2018. I posted it 9/21. I had contact with her on 8/14. She actually called me and stated that she was going to get the permit and going to do all this kind of stuff. And since then, I've heard nothing, and nothing has changed. But the entire covering of that area needs to be completely removed, and it needs to go back to original. The beam that's supporting that roof is now cut. So I would like to, I don't know if this is appropriate or not, but I'd like to ask for a fine certain on the next cutoff.
I don't think we can do that, but we sure can find it non-compliant.
Could you?
Now, and then we can do what we need to do.
Could you point out, sort of, from that picture, the beam that was cut?
The beam at the far end where the blockout finish ends, that 4x4 is cut, and it's not really positioned where it should be. It supports the upper roof.
Okay.
I'll get a better close-up if you like.
So, so it's the whole thing all the way down in the pictures, not just that.
Her area
and at the garage.
Her area is just what you see enclosed. Those are the condos next to her.
Okay, so it's that picket fence is what?
No.
No, the supports that are the vertical 4x4 supports in between on both ends of that white section that she enclosed.
Oh, I see.
Those are the supports for the upper roof.
Yeah.
The fencing is just the, aesthetics.
Fencing, yeah, okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in non-compliance in order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, October 31st, 2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Jones, second.
Second.
Second, Mr. Harrington. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries.
Madam Chair, lady. Mr.
Yes.
Alderman, is that, you said, is that beam is such that it may fall down on top of somebody right now?
Pardon?
I just wonder if we should make it part of our motion that that did not be used, that will not be used at all by anybody. Is that beam going to?
No, it's just it's a structural integrity, but it.
Okay, it's not going to.
No, it's not going to fall down.
It's not going to fall
It's not
down.
imminent. No.
Okay, good.
But make sure. Thank you.
That's a good question. All right, moving on to case number 25, CEB 10-18-120, BMS Holdings. Good morning. Please come forward. Be sworn in.
Station name and address.
Melanie Peckham, 846 Madison Avenue, acting as an agent.
Raise your hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
Oh, can I ask, what is your relation to BMS Holdings?
Agent.
Agent. Thank you.
I'm sorry, I don't know what that means. If you
Yeah, I'm getting
give some
confused. Tell me how you're related to BMS Holdings, and do you live on that property?
I don't, ma'am.
You don't live on that
I work
property.
for the company.
And that's not the company address, is
No.
it? No.
That's just one of the.
Okay, what did you say your address was?
Well, my physical address?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was for the property.
No.
My physical address is 1019 Plymouth Avenue,
Okay.
Orlando.
And you work for BMS
Yes.
Holdings? Okay.
Okay, now we get it. Sorry for the confusion. Okay. All right, Mr. Jackson.
Yeah, Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that this property remains in noncompliance, and he does have some concern that it had been inspected. It failed the inspection on 5/31/18. He's been advised that they're working on it by the owner, that they're working on compliance. However, they did rent the property after the original notification. But he's asking for next cutoff for this property to come into compliance. I tender Mr. Jones.
So the property is rented now. Okay, Mr.
That's
Jones.
a nod
Yeah.
coming from Mr. Jones. Yes,
Okay.
it is rented.
All right.
Yes, there were some concerns when we did the inspection on May 31st because there was quite a few of electrical items where they had just ran cable in this enclosed carport. I did receive a call from the owner, Mr. Spivey of the BMS, on Monday, and he did state to me that due to financial reasons, they went ahead and started renting the property the next day after the inspection, and it has been rented for the last 4 months because he was trying to accumulate money to do some work because he said also it needed a new roof. I do not know. We now have an inspection trying to get in there next week to re-inspect it for the rental inspection.
Okay. Is this company, has this company been the owner for a substantial amount of time, or is this a new owner?
I think it's the same owner. I know we changed.
Come on up.
It's the same owner. We just changed the name of the company. But
A warranty deed of October 16th, 2017.
And, okay, but that's just a name change of the company. One company. Okay, that's fine.
Yeah,
Just for my own.
From one part of their corporation
Right.
to another part of their.
So, but they owned it previous to that as well. Okay.
Yes, and this company has been before us a couple times under different holding names.
Okay, thank you. All right, come on up and tell us what's going to happen here.
I just have a statement too. Is that okay?
Okay.
Today we are requesting the board give us a 60-day extension to complete the rental inspection with our experience with Mike Jones. We want to take this opportunity to make sure the board members really know what is going on behind the scenes. Our company owns over 200 properties throughout the state of Florida, yet this is the only board we have to go in front of many times. That should say something. No other board in any other county. This doesn't mean that we don't have tenants that make messes, don't cut our grass, or have issues, but it does mean that the code officer focus is on the code and getting that resolved rather than having us have to spend time coming before you. Example, we have a letter dated September 16th and signed by...
Okay, I think I'm going to stop you right here. I think all of us have heard enough right now. We're either going to find this property in compliance or not in compliance. And tell him to keep that letter, and he could submit it at the next meeting if he's not in compliance.
I should submit that letter to the city commission.
Yeah.
Not to us.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry, I've never been here.
You had a complaint about code enforcement. It's not our thing. I make a motion to fine them in non-compliance with a fine of $1,000. Oh no, this is a rental license, $250.
No.
Oh, can we do $1,000 a day?
Well, we can't. First, we have to find him in non-compliance.
And then we can't fine up to a fine.
And when he comes back, if he's not in compliance, we can fine him up to $1,000.
All right, that's the motion.
All right. Mr. Harrington has made a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, Mr. Jones. All in favor of saying aye?
Aye.
Like, sign, and post. Yeah, the reason that we don't need the letter today is because we're not hearing the case today. We're just determining that it is not, it's either in compliance or not in compliance. So
Yeah.
you can tell him to bring the letter back next time.
I don't even know, why we receive a letter complaining about the city's code.
You're right.
It's
And
not
to be
our...
honest with you, there are many other cities that have rental programs. So we're not unique.
So if they want to complain about it, we didn't write the
I see
rules.
what you're saying.
Yeah.
The complaint might go to the commission.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, thank you. Go ahead. Yes, we found them in non-compliance, and they have until the end of the month, the 31st of October, to come into compliance, or they're going to come back at the next meeting, which is 11/8, for consideration to fine them for not having the property in compliance.
20 days. That's
Yeah.
I'm feeling guilty.
Yeah. All right, case number 26, CEB 10-18-124, Lowland LLC. Respondent present? No show. That thing's real simple. Okay, Mr. Jackson.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mark Jones. Mr. Jones reports that this property is in noncompliance. He further reports that something that I wrote that he'll have to tell you. But we are asking for next cutoff for him to come into compliance, not to Mr. Jones.
Yes, this case was for not having a current rental license. The owner came in and paid fees for this year's rental license, but also owed back fees for his BT licenses with additional fines for interest on not having the licenses intact. Mr. Oslo, I talked to him at the end of August, and he said he wasn't going to pay those back fines. So our procedure is, if you do not have your license and fees up to date, we can't do a rental inspection. So Mr. Oslo requested to be heard by the board.
They'll get a chance next month.
Okay.
All right, the chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington.
Second.
Second, Ms. House, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries, all right? Case number 27, Mr. Fitzgerald's case, CEB 1018-129, Adela Zavar Gadimi and family. Anyone present?
Yes.
Okay.
State your name and address.
Nasser Gadimi, 618 Braddock Avenue.
Raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
All right, we will hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Fitzgerald first. My goodness, that's a long list.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Mike Fitzgerald. He reports that the property, this is a complaint-driven violation. He reports that the property remains in noncompliance. He's asking, that's what we were just discussing, and he's discussing now with his supervisor that as far as the amount of time. But he believes that the circumstance may be a situation where he may ask for a progress report instead of and make a compliance at a subsequent date. But I don't have enough details, and I'd have to.
Okay, so we're
if
going
we
to
can
talk
have just
to
a moment.
Mr. Fitzgerald because I have a lot of questions.
Okay.
Good morning.
Good morning, Mike Fitzgerald with the City of Daytona Beach.
All right, so this is a rental property.
Yes, ma'am.
So do they have their rental?
It is a 5-unit, and they do have their BT.
They have their BTR, right?
No, BTR is for 4 units or less.
Oh.
BT is a license for commercial building, and they do have it.
Oh, so we don't even do the inspection then on a 5-unit, is that
No.
correct? But they have a license from whom?
City of Daytona Beach is a BT.
So does that mean this property is inspected previously?
The
To
BT
issue the
doesn't get
license,
inspected.
BTs don't get, commercial, 5 units or more don't get inspected, is that
By
correct?
us,
By
state of
the
Florida.
city. But the city issues a license?
Business tax.
It's a business tax license, like a BTR.
An old
Except
occupation license.
It's an occupational license.
Mike, you
I'm confused.
you inspected this on 5/18. What is the difference between what the property's condition on that date and today?
Not much. I have met the owner on the property in the last week, and we were discussing the building, that it needs a real overhaul, not just paint, and it needs to be brought up. New windows, let's do a new siding, and he's willing to do it. And he's been calling contractors all week to start getting, instead of just painting it and getting the things fixed, which is what we can ask for. He's willing to go ahead and just do it newish. I mean, new siding, new windows, bring that whole block and make the whole block look much better.
Yeah, I would think so. It would look like.
But it's whatever y'all you want. Whether he could be in compliance by next cutoff if he just painted and fixed the wood and stuff like that. But maybe that's not what we want here. We want it to really look new and refreshed. And as long as someone's willing to put the money in.
We hear what you're saying. Okay.
So you're suggesting if we have a progress report,
Non-compliance today, and then a progress report.
and if he comes
See
back
if we
at the
can get
next progress report and you say nothing's been done,
Right.
where would we go from there? What?
Then we would set a compliance date
Then we'll
and-
set a
and be done.
compliance date. Okay.
Now he has called contractors this week, and we talked about it, and a lot of them are going to fix all the problems in the Panhandle. So we may have some unknown issues coming.
And there are no permits issued.
No.
No, he's got to find the contractor and the siding and the window company.
Okay. All right, sir, what would you like to tell us? How many properties do you own?
3.
In Daytona Beach, you own 3 properties? Yes. Okay, come on up to the mic, please. Okay. All right, what do you want to tell, how long have you owned this property?
Go in that back.
Very long time, probably about 25 to 30 years.
25 years. And it's rented out right now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so tell us what you'd like to tell us.
Well, as far as I like to be in compliance, and as I was talking to the inspector, and I said, if that means that I need to put a new siding and stuff, which I tried to get, but they canceled on me, and now I don't know how long before I can get somebody who can do this.
Okay.
And if the painting and small repairs that needs to be done can be done quickly, so we can do that to be in compliance, or we can, I don't know how long it would take to actually.
Well, there are a lot of things here, a lot of violations here. That's a very long list of things to do.
Yeah, I realize, but most of them are just, nothing that is big at all time consuming. That's
good to hear.
Mr. Fitzgerald, if the windows are not operational, how does that meet fire code?
I'm sorry, say that again.
If the windows are not operational, how does that meet fire code? How does someone escape from the property if it's on fire and the windows don't open or stay open? Isn't that a violation of fire code?
I mean,
well, that's a violation of fire code.
It's absolutely a violation, and that's why we want new windows and.
But there's people living in there with those conditions. One time before, way back, we passed something where the windows wouldn't open, and less than a week later, the place caught on fire. That very much concerns me. That should be the first thing and immediately taken care of.
Yes, make that as part of our motion.
Yes.
Let's bring it back next month. Make sure he's doing what he's supposed to do. Make that part of the motion. And the window be taken care of.
Here's the motion that
I have a question.
I'm going to craft. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I recall you previously here. Are these all your relatives living in this facility?
No.
No, these are individual renters?
Yes.
Okay.
Those are all those people named are the owners of the property.
Yeah, but before it was all his relatives living there.
All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day, and further orders that the windows become operational within the next 10 days? Is there such a motion?
So moved.
All right, motion, Mrs. House, second, Mrs. Himes, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. See you next month, sir.
Madam Chair, if we could just get some clarification, which
Yeah.
I believe I understand what you did, but I just want to make sure we're clear on it. Since you asked for imposition of fine by next month or next cutoff, if indeed he wants to do more, and he actually gets moving forward and doing that more, I would think and hope that the board would consider
I'm sure,
amending.
I can't speak for every member, I can speak for myself, that if there was substantial progress moving forward and not a lot of excuses, I am sure that the board will consider working with him.
Yeah. Very good.
I mean, that's
Just-
kind of what
just-
we do anyway.
But not on the windows. Windows is
But
next
not-
10
the
days.
windows have to be fixed.
Okay, so that's the clarity.
Okay.
And the inspector will be very sure to push those issues to make sure that we're accomplishing what the desire of the board is.
I mean, there's a very long list of things here.
And the things that are necessary for code compliance.
Right.
But
the
in
windows
the
we
manner
want-
which you
After 10
explained.
days, you got to get somebody to go in there and take care of the
Right.
windows.
Yes.
Make sure that people can get in and out.
I mean,
That's
maybe
all.
somebody else would like, anybody else want to address this?
It's good.
Thank you.
All right, case 28, CED 1018-130s, Joseph Stephen Holloway. Mr. Holloway here? All right, are you gentlemen over here and here? Is there someone that has a case?
I have a case.
Come up here, we'll get you finished, sir. 32. I know we're almost there anyway, but let's get you finished since you're sitting here.
Budweiser.
Oh, you're in compliance. You've been, well, there you go.
It's, my address is 920 Emma Street.
Oh.
No, that's
Well,
not
thank
the
you for
address.
coming into compliance.
No, that's not the address.
34.
Okay, 34.
Okay, 34.
132 and 920 Emma Street.
920.
Yes, okay.
So I still have to wait. And
Yes.
No, we will hear your case now since you waited. And gentlemen in the back, do you have a case?
No,
Okay. Yeah, I know. Okay, we'll hear your case.
State your name.
Which,
Denzel Mills, 920 Emma Street.
what number, please? What?
solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you're about to provide is the truth, whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
All right, this is case 34,
Thank you.
1018-132 at 920 Emma Street.
Yes.
We're looking at the roof here.
Yes.
All right, sir, we're going to hear from Mr. Jackson and Mr. Reckenzone first, and then you can speak.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for the determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the property remains in noncompliance, and he's asking for next cutoff for it to be brought into compliance. And I will tender Mr. Reckenzone for additional factual information.
Hello, my name is Cliff Reckenzone. I'm an inspector with the city, and my credentials are on file. The two violations were parking in the grass and a damaged roof. As of today, the tarp has been removed from the roof, and the car is off of the grass. It's not actually on the street now. Okay.
Well, that's not on here, so.
That was the original site.
Right, okay. Oh, I see, okay. All right. So the tarp.
Yes.
All right, go ahead, if you can explain this a little bit.
Yes, so initially my roof was damaged. I had leaks, but only over the garage area, not the living area. But we decided to top it as a precautionary measure, and instead of buying just portions, we got a whole rooftop. However, the wind came by and tore it off, so it's really in total disarray. We went ahead and removed the top because there is no leak. So it's not really a danger to the living area, just the garage. So we don't need the top. As far as the roof is concerned, I've gotten estimates ranging from $10,000 to $14,000 to repair the roof. However, here's my medical package. I had been hospitalized all of last year, so I'm having both financial and medical issues at the moment. I'm not able to pay out of my pocket to fix my roof, so I went to Vind, and I filled out all the documents they wanted, and they're willing to work with me. It's going to take a little while, according to them, to be able to get the work done since they're a voluntary organization. But again, I mentioned there is no leak in my, I'll welcome an inspection if that's necessary. There is no leak in the living space, only over the garage. And as far as the roof is concerned, I know the shingles are mostly aesthetics. The surface beneath the shingles is in good shape, so there is no leak at all. It just really looks bad, and that I'm aware of that. Like I said, the top's removed, so, all this stuff has been... So basically, I'm asking for some time to work with the organization so that they can help me repair the roof, because financially, I'm just not able to.
Okay. Well, what I'm thinking is, we'll find you non-compliance and order a progress report at the next meeting to see what's going on. Is that...
Sure.
Sounds good.
And
Is that all right with everybody?
Yes.
may I say something? If
Yeah.
I'm able to present documents to show that I'm making
Yeah,
progress.
absolutely. That's what we want you to do next time.
Yes, because I've been working with them. I've been presenting everything they
Right,
asked, but
okay.
it's taking a little
Okay,
while.
that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance and order a progress report at the next meeting, which is November 8th, 2018, and and determine a compliance date at that time. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, second, Mr. Jones. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. So you come back next month and tell us, show us what you've done, okay?
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you very
And
much.
keep in touch with your code officer. All right, do we want to take a little 5-minute break here?
Sure. Yeah,
Okay.
why not?
5 minutes, since it's 11. Yeah, or close to it, and then we'll just come back. It'll only take us a few minutes. to
Nobody
run
else
through.
here?
We're all back except the guy with no
Okay,
shoes.
we're going to call the meeting back to order, and we're going to excuse Mr. Jones for the remainder of the meeting. All right.
Shoeless Joe.
All right.
Top of page
Let's
7.
see, where are we? We're back at page 7, I think. Case number 28.
28.
CEB 1018-130, Joseph Stephen Holloway. Nobody home. We'll be talking to ourselves for the rest of the meeting. Okay.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you for compliance and non-compliance. The inspector is Mike Fitzgerald. Mr. Fitzgerald reports it's in non-compliance. He's recommending next cutoff for it to come into compliance, and unless something's changed, he's had no contact with the. Oh. Okay, something changed, so we will have
Was he
hear
in the
from.
wheelchair? Walker? Yeah. Okay, I saw him. Right.
Oh, yeah.
The elevator was broken.
How'd the guy
Okay,
in the
well,
wheelchair
I will tender Mr.
How'd
Fitzgerald
the guy in the
to bring you
wheelchair
up to.
get up?
Okay. But so you've had contact with him.
Yeah, I have had contact,
Okay.
and he's called numerous contractors, and they won't do that little work.
I know.
So I said maybe go to Home Depot or something and do the whole triangle with a different color, because he won't be able to match it. So he's going to look into that this week.
That's his home?
That's his home, yes.
It's his, but why, he lives in that?
He lives in there, yeah. It's a beautiful house. He just called many, many times to get that fixed, but they won't do that small amount. So.
Right.
Excuse me, what case number is this?
All right, we're on page 7, case 28.
28. Page
Okay, if it's his home, why does he need a business license and a rental license?
Are we on the same?
That's the wrong picture. Never mind. This is all.
Are we on the wrong case?
We're on the wrong case.
He's doing 29.
I think we're on the right case, wrong photos. Wrong photos, right case.
Okay, all right, let's go back. Thank you, Mr. Harrington. We're on case number 28, Joseph Holland. And he's not the guy, he's not here, and he didn't show. Yeah. This is 139 Park Avenue we're on right now.
The pictures were,
Parking on the grass, outdoor storage, junk, trash. Okay.
Yeah.
oh,
My announcement doesn't change, but I will tender Mr. Fitzgerald to further explain
Okay.
where we are actually.
Okay.
I believe some of the information we said a moment ago is not correct. The gentleman who was unable to come in is not the
Right.
one
No,
on
we
this
forget
case.
it. Okay.
So
We were
just
on
get
the
some
wrong
clarification.
case. Right page, wrong case.
I have had contact with the gentleman from Park. You'll see photographs that show substantial improvement, and he should be in compliance by the next cutoff.
It's easy enough.
Okay.
So all that will be gone in a minute.
Okay. So
There.
you have had contact.
Yes.
Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent committed compliance by the next cutoff date 10/31/2018 or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. House, second, Mrs. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Now, case number 29, CEB 10-18-131, Walter McElwee.
It's the siding case.
The siding case,
Yeah.
which we've
With
looked
the
at,
gentleman
and
with the-
that's
with
all
the-
he has
with
to
the
do.
walker.
So what are you recommending that we do?
Compliance next cutoff.
Okay,
Compliance next cutoff.
compliance next cutoff. All right. Any questions? Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance or respondent committed to compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/18, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
so moved.
Motion, Mr. Harrington, a second. Second, Mr. McLean. All in favor say aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries. All right, now we're on the next page, page 8, case number 33. This is a Wilfine case, correct? All right, Mr. Reckenzone, CEB 10-18-127, Marquis Williams, who is not here. Marquise, I don't know.
Before I had one thing that's wrong. I think the date was wrong.
I'm sorry?
It is wrong, you're right.
It says 12/14.
It says 12/14.
Oh, yeah, that has to be wrong.
So first notified.
Oh, yeah, that was my fault. That was this.
First notified could have been December this year.
Was it 17?
17. Thank you very much.
Because I look back on some records and that was first.
All right, okay, okay. Good catch. Thank you.
Yeah, this is the one we talked about last week, or last month.
No, this is a new case.
This is another new, yeah. Very similar. Sorry, it's the same. Right.
Yes.
Yes.
He's been here over and over before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Madam Chair, members of the board, this is before you as a repeat violation. It was before you as a repeat violation last month. He was notified, he was cited, fined, and the order of fine was sent. And he was fined, I don't remember the amount, $9,250. Since that time, the inspector, and I believe he'll report, it probably could go every day, but at least for 9 days, he has photos and he's verified the presence of the semi still there. And so for 9 times, he's asking for a fine to be imposed for each of those 9 occurrences of $1,000 per occurrence for the amount of $9,000, with the hopes that this respondent will become responsive and remove. Is this coming and going?
Jackson, may I say, I can remember a $5,000 fine on him in 2015. But that was
Well, we do assess, something that we weren't doing as much in the past, but we do assess them in terms of determining whether or not we would move forward on foreclosure or take additional actions. And that's something that's a lot more active right now in the city. So we'll see what happens as these fines are accruing.
Tony, is it still out there or they moved now?
I have to ask the inspector.
All right, Mr. Ricketts.
These photos are from this morning. The semi, the one with the longer nose, is gone. The one that was considered a junk vehicle by law enforcement was tagged, was removed from the property and now put back in the property in the backyard.
Okay.
And as under our land development code, a junk vehicle can't be anywhere on the property, even in the backyard. It can't be stored.
We thought about possibly having it towed next time. And then the board authorized you to tow it. And,
If it was still in the front yard and still accessible by law enforcement, it would be able to be towed, but the law enforcement's not going to go through the gate and into the.
It's not front on that other side.
No, it's now behind that truck.
Oh, it's behind the truck.
I'll pull up that photo for you.
Talking about this vehicle right there.
The one with the long nose is gone.
Okay.
The other one is that one's gone. The one with the flat nose is behind the fence, behind the
The
wooden
reason I'm
fence.
saying that is because in Deltona, for example, we have these particular problems. You just tow it.
The one that's accessible.
Sheriff's office tows it. I mean that's
Right.
it's a thought.
We have a policy for junk vehicles to be towed if they're accessible.
Okay.
They're not going to go past. They're not going to go past the fence.
Okay.
And there's normally a car parked in the grass in front of it,
Okay.
which is also a violation.
So at what point will the city start?
Yeah, as I said, it's something that has to be assessed by its.
Excuse me. Hold that frame. You just okay. Are you saying 10-11? I see the truck there.
No, that's our code enforcement board
Meeting date.
Dates are on the top.
The dates are the little numbers up top. Yeah, see? Yeah, that we can, okay.
The reason I'm saying
Yeah,
that is once it gets towed one time, you see that solves the problem.
Well, I think he's indicating that one of them has been
there's
towed,
one.
but it's back. Right? That's right. Correct.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Cliff. I did mark it.
Go on.
Yeah,
Go on.
I did go out there after the last meeting. I marked the flat nose one that you see in some of the pictures as a
Yes.
junk vehicle, and the silver car.
Okay.
They were since moved. When I went back to tow them, they had been moved.
Okay.
Now, per Mr. Reckons, and I've been back out there, he has somehow gotten them back in the property. The truck's in the backyard where
Correct.
we no longer have access
Correct.
or the legal authority
Okay.
to go into to get. The silver car, I don't know if it's re-registered or not. I'll have to look at it. But if that still meets the criteria, I'll address that.
Okay, thank you.
This photo's from this morning.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. All right, so the chair will entertain a motion to impose a fine of $1,000 per day for 9 days, totaling $9,000
Just a
for the
quick-
dates of noncompliance,
Based upon it being a repeat violation.
based upon it being a repeat violation.
And just so the clarity of per occurrence, so that it's not seen as a per day fine. It's
Okay, $1,000 per occurrence. We'll change that to occurrence instead of days. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Motion, Mrs. Himes, second. Second, Ms. McLean. All in favor say aye.
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 Like sign opposed. Motion carries. Okay, we did 34. We're on 35. CEB 1018-135, Stephen and Suzanne Kaplan. Knows those. Okay. Oh, jeez. Okay.
Okay. This is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector's it's Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the property is in noncompliance. He's had no contact unless something's changed. He has had no contact with the respondent. The property appears to be vacant. He's asking for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance, and I attend to Mr. Reckenzone.
I had to post the property for the hearing, and I've received contact this week that he called me this week to tell me that he's working on getting a contractor. When I took the photos yesterday, there was an actual contractor on the roof getting an estimate, but they're still in noncompliance.
Right, okay. All right. The chair will entertain a motion to find respondent non-compliance and a respondent come into compliance by the next cutoff date, 10/31/2018, and be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Mr. Harrington, motion. Second, Ms. Himes. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed. Motion carries. I just want to get my notes here. All right, last case. CEB 010-18-137769 Greenway Realty LLC. Respondent not present. What can you tell us?
This is before you for determination of compliance or noncompliance. The inspector is Cliff Reckenzone. Mr. Reckenzone reports that the property remains in noncompliance. He's asking for, he says that some work has been done. He's asking for next cutoff for the property to be brought into compliance, and I attend to Mr. Reckenzone.
All the exterior issues on the property have been put into compliance. The only thing I'm waiting for is the RTL and BT on the property.
Okay, so the weeds are taken care of?
The weeds were cut, yes, that plant was cut down.
Okay.
And the roof, the fascia on the roof was repaired.
Okay.
Are they running a business out of this?
It's a rental property.
It's a rental property, okay.
So they need to do, did they do their screens?
Yes, they fixed the screen.
So they need to just set up an inspection and be done with it?
Correct.
Okay. All right. Chair will entertain a motion to find respondent in noncompliance and order the respondent to come into compliance by the next cutoff date, October 31st, 2018, or be returned to the board for consideration of a fine of up to $1,000 per day. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Okay, motion, Mrs. Himes, is there a second?
No, I said-
Motion, Mrs. House, second. Second, Ms. McLean, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Like sign opposed, motion carries. Okay, that's the end of our case load. Anybody have any miscellaneous business?
I have some questions.
Go ahead.
When we had that class a long time ago, I could be remembering it incorrectly, but a place that has 5 units is licensed by a different standard, and that was under by the state.
Yeah, Department of Business and Professional Regulations. I think there was some confusion about the issue of the BTR. They're required to get a BTR. I don't know. He was saying it was a BT, but it's the same thing. They got to get a business tax receipt, but they're not subject to our rental licensing program.
Can we refer them to
that?
that?
I'm sorry?
Can we refer them to the state? Because obviously they hadn't been looking at it for a very long time.
We tend to do that, so I don't know if that was done or if the state has approved them or not. But we tend to give the state that
25
notification when it's outside of our jurisdiction. Our jurisdiction ends for a rental inspection
Right.
to 4.
But that does not mean we can't find
Refer them.
or that we
The other-
find them in non-compliance
No, it does. We
with
can
code
still do that.
violations in our code.
Yeah, we still have jurisdiction for all of the code
We
violations.
can't go in there and inspect, require them to be inspected by the city.
They're not subject to our rental program.
Right, they're not subject to. Yeah.
But they are still required to have a business tax receipt if they're operating a business, which includes rental.
But it was obvious the state hadn't been there for a long time. I mean,
Yes, that's probably true in a lot of places.
Basically, refer and unless it's something like downstairs.
but that was a safety issue for that home, and it's a long time over.
We're going to be on that, and I'm being told that they'll make sure the inspector by Mr. Jesmer, Officer Jesmer, that make sure the inspector be on that. And in light of that, I just wanted to mention as well. I guess we're in our miscellaneous business.
Yeah.
Is that code is now back over under the police department, and so that's get a lot more involvement and activity from the police department. Sometimes I'm sure we'll probably even have the Captain Lee. It's under Captain Lee, so it's pretty much his primary administrative assignment, and then a lot more involvement from Officer Jesmer as well as we move forward. Also, there's they initiated the Code Stat program. I don't know if we brought this up the last time. I'm thinking I didn't. Maybe we did.
We did.
Yeah. Okay. And I think we made the suggestion of,
And we didn't go.
Yeah, only because, of course, similar to ComStat, it's public input, and they're talking about things that they have concerns about that ultimately may come before you guys.
I tried to go, but I went to the wrong place. Now, it's out on Main Street out there?
No, it's out in the same place with the where they were doing the where they do ComStat, which is out at the police department.
The new one.
Yeah.
That's on Main
But as we said,
Street, right? What
you
is
just kind of
Mason?
Yeah.
I'm recommending that you guys do not go.
But as, again, your council recommends that you don't go. I agree with them that it's probably not a good idea because
You don't want
the
to have
nature
to
was.
recuse yourself from voting in a case because you're prejudiced against the case because you know too much about it.
And you got a ton of citizens complaining
So
about
that
it,
would
and
be why
that's
we
something that
wouldn't go.
affects.
Oh, they're not just statistics they're giving you at that point?
No, there's an open forum.
Folks to talk about.
Yeah, for those who have been to ComStat, the effort is to be similar to that, which is an open forum. People are asking questions, telling on things that bother them or they're concerned about, asking if anyone's been out to take a look at such and such. And those are things that probably aren't in the best interest for you as those who will be judging or sitting in the position of review subsequent. So I don't go either. Because I don't want anyone asking me and me answering things that I can't.
But I wouldn't mind just seeing the stats, not necessarily.
Which probably put
who did
online.
what.
Typically, they have. I know with ComStat, they make those available on a. Well,
and I'll find out if I can. And I don't think there's a problem even if I get a printout and bring it.
Well, I'm not sure about the printout. I know with the ComStat printouts, we try to. They have tactical information. It has a type of information that we prefer not to give it to the public because then it becomes a public record that we got to get everyone. So the written narratives we may not give out, but if that would probably be my recommendation. I hadn't seen them, so I don't know that answer for sure. But that's they probably won't. But what else they do is they generally have like mapped out and what those types of things.
Where
You're
the
doing
code
it that way.
violations are, what they're
Each
working
inspector's
on.
zone and where
But
their
you
cases
can get
are.
that online now.
Yeah, with the
Code,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
E-track it, yeah.
E-Track it has that,
That
and so
is-
that's public already.
Those statistics are online all the time.
Yeah, maybe one
Public
time.
record.
Yeah, maybe we can take a moment and let someone kind of familiarize those who aren't familiar with CodeTrack it, on your own. I don't know again if Charlie feels that's a good thing for you to go to CodeTrack it or not, but
Right.
it's public. It's
I
public
try
information.
not to do any of that stuff. I try and just say, don't talk to me
There's
about it.
There's nothing wrong with case statistics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But, going to the meeting, I'm really concerned about it.
Yeah.
You were at that meeting, you heard what I said that day, or you told me something at the
Exactly.
meeting.
Exactly.
Yeah, we can do that at another.
And then you'll have to recuse yourself.
Yeah, I'm thinking, and Cliff was just mentioning, if we want to maybe take a 10-minute show, not necessarily that we're here a long time, but maybe another meeting, and he can pull CodeTrack it up and show you how you can go and CodeTrack it and see anything you want. Yeah, and access those things, because those are public access. Everyone can.
I mean, and there's some cases truly where if the building's big enough, and it's in your neighborhood or it's on your way to work, you see the building. There's no way you're not.
The whole point, and
that's not the issue.
Yeah,
The issue
Charlie and I have
is
seen
what
this in
goes
case.
along the talking about it and anything that's prejudicial. I mean, you can't help but notice some of these code violations when you're driving to work or whatever.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, both Charlie and I have seen in the case law that that's the whole point of a citizen board. I mean, you're going to be familiar with the area, you're going to be familiar with the properties, what you see it. The real point is that if it's something that's going to affect your judgment decision and your fairness, then you need to point it out. Or make sure it doesn't. So even if you look something up, if you look it up and because you saw that was 30 cases there, if that's going to cause you to take a position without the facts, then don't. But if you really feel it will, then make it known. Right. I looked this up. I saw 30 of them. There's no way I can be fair based on what I saw.
Right.
But you even
But I don't
kind
think that
of
should happen.
accumulate stuff in your mind because you remember
but you
fines
just do the best you can.
people that come
to
up
keep
many
yourself
times.
fair and impartial.
You don't want to put yourself in a position where you're conflicted under any circumstances. I always remind me of the guy up at Flagler Beach that was on the code board, and he was picketing the strip joint in town. It came in front of the code board.
Right.
You can't do that.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But
Can't do that.
I think what you just saying was a good point. She said even we bring up cases back, but we're still in the chamber. When I said about that case,
that happens.
he has
And
done it.
it's also from public record. I mean, what you looked up from before in your,
Yes,
in
I keep
things we have ruled on, and that's fine.
And it's relevant to the
But we're
decision
not
that you have to
going
make.
out and soliciting information from.
Right.
But
That's-
really, having a friend in Jacksonville that was sued by everything, and with the sunshine law, I don't want to touch it with a 10-foot pole outside, not even to go by the room, because someone sees you, and you'd be surprised the one that know all of us.
And that's that whole thing about, the most frustrating thing about being on public boards and things is you don't even feel right even going to lunch with someone because the appearance that you're talking about stuff becomes of issue with, your co-members.
Right.
It's not that you're not allowed, but the appearance means maybe you shouldn't.
Happens all over the place.
Yeah, maybe you shouldn't. I didn't say it's not allowed. Now, this is not allowed, but people presume just because they see you together that you talk about stuff.
Absolutely.
And as trying to say, you probably don't want to deal with it because it can become much more of a headache than you need it to be.
Yeah, and I mean, I find myself sometimes if I'm at a neighborhood meeting, when I used to go to a lot of neighborhood meetings, I'd just get up and walk out till they were done with the discussion and close.
I just slither down in my seat.
It's something else I just wanted to bring up real quick. I know everybody needs to go, and it's something else you probably don't want to attend, but we're doing our first code walk on next
Oh, yeah,
Wednesday
we-
in
okay.
Cedar Highlands.
Yeah, that's cool.
So, see how that turns out.
Good.
On City Island? Is that what you?
Cedar Highlands.
Cedar Highlands.
Where's that? Out?
It's off of Jimmy Ann.
That's
Clyde,
Oh,
Jimmy Ann and Clyde Morris.
Oh,
But again, it's
Okay.
probably not something you want to go to, but I just wanted to make sure you were aware of it.
All right.
and who
So-
goes to that?
Well, this is our first one. It's open to the
Regular
public.
citizens.
We're going to walk with the citizens and the code inspector.
You're not regular citizens.
Right.
It's a transparency thing for the citizens in the same way with everything else we do, and an opportunity to be able to
And when you're
interact
doing this
and
walk,
show that
what
we
do you
care.
do? You tell them what to look for as a citizen?
They're going to walk with the inspectors.
Uh-huh.
And we want the inspectors to point out, because a lot of people don't understand, some things aren't a code violation.
Okay.
They think
Right.
it is, and that's why we want the
Exactly.
inspectors to go along and say, this is what is, this is what isn't,
Right.
and show them
That will give
a good
people a
example.
much better understanding of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Sounds good.
Meeting adjourned.